Dr. Stephanie, and I have something that I want to talk about. I got to get this off my chest, right? So recently, I had a little conversation with some of my girlfriends and felt some kind of way. And I'm going to tell you what happened, but based on that situation, I started to think about how I need to, and we need to make sure that we settle our sisterly squabbles. So this month, I really want to talk about settling sisterly squabbles because I have had plenty of sisterly squabbles in my lifetime. And most of them I've been able to settle, and my life has benefited greatly because of it. But there are still some that are unsettled, and I no longer have regrets, but for a long time I had regrets. So I just want to share what happened to me. So I was meeting with some of my girlfriends, like we often do. We come together to go over our goals and to set new goals and to just hold each other accountable. And then to just kind of like hang out and just be friends. And while we were going over our goals and our accountability, two of my girlfriends started to kind of tease me a little bit about the way that I react in certain situations. And how I took it was that they were calling me a pushover. And they were saying that I didn't stand up for myself. And so in the moment, it made me feel some kind of way, but I didn't say anything. So the next day, it was really bothering me. Because I'm thinking to myself, well, I stand up for myself in this way. I talk to other people about standing up for themselves. Like, what? Am I a fraud? So I said, okay, if it's bothering you, you need to say something. But what you don't know is that I am not a fan. So what I was saying is that one thing you may not know about me is that I am not a huge fan of confrontation. I have learned to be able to do it, but anytime I need to have a confrontation, I still get those little butterflies in my stomach because it's not my favorite thing to do. But I decided that I would put on my big girl panties and I would give my girlfriend a call and we would talk about this because it was important. If I have those butterflies in my stomach, then that's a sign that I need to say something. And I know these days we are so into just ghosting people or cutting people off or crossing them off the list or leaving things unsaid. And I think that we are really doing a disservice to ourselves and our relationships and a lot of the blessings that will come in the future. At least that's what I have found. And when I called and I had this conversation, the amazing thing about it is that it went so well. And I did learn exactly what they were referring to. And they were referring to a specific instance where it took me a while to get to the point where I actually stood up for myself. And I was able to receive that and I was able to grow from that. And in the same conversation, my girlfriend admitted that there were areas that she needed to grow from. So it was a beautiful conversation. I got past it. And what I have learned is that if we're going to have this sisterhood that I am so passionate about, we have to learn how to settle sisterly squabbles. We can't ghost our sisters. We can't write them off just because they have a difference of opinion, just because they do things differently, they look differently, they have a different vibe. We need each other and we need community. So being able to settle sisterly squabbles is imperative. And knowing when a sisterly squabble cannot be settled is also imperative. Now I have another situation where I had a group of three of us and we were like besties, thick as thieves, tight, tight, tight. And there was a squabble. Our threesome broke up. And after that threesome broke up, for a while, two of us were still besties and the other person was kind of out there on their own. So now years later, fast forward, that person who was out there on their own wants to get the band back together, but without moi. So, of course, naturally, I'm going to feel some kind of way about that. But again, it's okay. I realized that I have done everything that I could do to try to mend that relationship, and it's just not going to be mended. And it's okay for the other person to be able to have that type of relationship. So, some of the things that I've learned about settling sisterly squabbles is owning your own stuff, right? I had to own my own stuff in multiple situations to be able to settle a sisterly squabble. Another thing is forgiveness, forgiving yourself for the things that you did wrong and forgiving the other person. Another one is releasing it, because sometimes we forgive, but we don't release the hurt and the pain, and then we're not able to move forward and be in community together. And there's some lessons that I have really learned, because sometimes sisterly squabbles are not just on an individual level, they're on an organizational level. And I've been in positions in organizations where there were sisterly squabbles that were threatening to take down the whole entire organization. And I've learned some very important facts from that I want to share in my next video. And I'll just give you a hint. It has to do with the 4 agreements. And if you've never heard of the 4 agreements, then you want to make sure you watch this next video, because they are truly life-changing. And when those sisterly squabbles are settled, especially on an organization-wide, people who you thought that you would never speak to in your life can become your greatest supporters, your greatest cheerleaders, and the greatest source of transformation in your life and in the lives of others. There's so much impact that we can have if we're able to settle some sisterly squabbles.